Welcome back to Shadowrun Returns, or I don't know, should I just call it the Dead Man's Switch? I feel like I should. It's the real name of the campaign, and that's what we're playing. So, anyway, we finished our first mission in the last episode, so we're moving on. That was a flashback. You stare at Sam's face on your comlink. Shake off the memory. Focus. I had you back that night, didn't I? You're back that night, didn't I? Now I'm asking myself, who would care if I die? Who would give a rat's ass? Better or worse, your name is at the top of the list. Maybe it's the only name on the list. So I set up a dead man's switch to send you this call. I got 100,000 Nuyen insurance policy, payable when you find who creased me. Alive with a conviction or in a body bag with justification. Either works. Contact my law firm, Rogers, Mengert, and McCain, when the job is done. They'll know what to do. He turns to his left. Chet? Lawyer. The camera swivels to show a well-dressed man sitting next to Sam. Pursuant to Mr. Watts' wishes, Rogers, Mengert, and McCain has installed a secure dedicated phone line, so you may contact us directly when the task is complete. We will then begin a verification process. Note that you must also be on a secure landline to access this number. We will not accept transmissions from comlinks or other devices. The camera swivels back to Sam. Sam straightens up, talks seriously. First time. Look, Alice. I've led a Drek life, and I probably left a Drek corpse. I've hurt people. Hurt myself. I don't know. Maybe I just want the last word. Maybe I just want someone to give a crap that I sucked air for a while. What do you say? I'd say my schedule's pretty clear right now. Hope you just said yes. I've got a locator chip slotted in my head these days. When my heart stops, it'll activate. That's how you'll find me. See you on the slab. Rest in peace, Sam. See you in Seattle. Your plane hits the SeaTac tarmac with a jolt. Welcome to Seattle. The chilly northwest rain obscures your vision as you step onto the tarmac. Before long, you're sitting in the cramped back seat of a cab, following the signal from Sam's locator chip into the heart of the Redmond Barrens. Organ grinders, a legal chop shop for body parts, whether from the living or the dead. If you're hurting bad enough for the Nuyen, this is the place to sell a limb or an organ. It's also a good place to dispose of an inconvenient body while making a little cash on the side. This franchise is the closest thing the Barrens has to a morgue. It seems this is where Sam Watts' body has ended up. You open the door and are assaulted by the smell of death and bleach. New objective. Ask the coroner about Sam Watts. So as you can see, it's showing the fog of war system. Just got a call on the radio there that they're in the back. Employees only beyond this point. Well, he said to come on back, so... The smell of death and decomposition wash over you, only slightly masked by the minty fake fresh of industrial grade antiseptic. I definitely don't want my antiseptic to smell like mint. I'm a fan of the pine sol scent, because it smells very fake, but it's also, pungent in its own right. Generally speaking, I just want it to smell like clean, and bleach smells pretty clean, even if I'm not particularly fond of it. Minty would definitely give me the heebie-jeebies. Dresden. Hovering over the recently departed is a small dwarf, whistling a tune. His broad grin says, "I love my job," a little more than you'd want or expect from someone in the chop shop trade. As you approach, he looks up with a lopsided grin. There's something kindly in his eyes, though it might just be a stray reflection of chrome and surgical tools. Dresden. Sorry, didn't expect any visitors at this hour, and some asshole at corporate took my receptionist. What can I do for you, ma'am? Are you the coroner? I'm John Dresden, the organ grinder's branch manager. The organ grinder's branch manager here. So yeah, that makes me this franchise's area coroner too. And you are? Alice Omarda, I'm here about Sam Watts. His grin fades. And what makes you think I know anything about that? Sam had a locator chip embedded in his skull. I followed it here. I see. Well, you're right. He's here. Not too many people know about the murder yet, though. The press haven't caught wind of it yet. What with it being all the way out here in the Barrens. So who told you he was dead? Sam's digital ghost. When his heart stopped, I got sent a recorded message asking me to bring his killer to justice. Guess he had a hunch. The dwarf raises his eyebrows, a smile wiping the suspicion from his face. A dead man's switch, eh? Fascinating. I was working on him earlier. He's over here. He's my second Emerald City Ripper victim. The third one was downtown. Emerald City Ripper? He sighs. Not my title. That's what the Seattle press insists on calling the killer. All I know is, like the original Jack, our Ripper knows how to handle a scalpel. This one's even more twisted. He or she always removes an internal organ from the victim. What prize did the Ripper take from Sam? Watts' liver was cleanly cut out. It's funny. I don't know if you noticed. I noticed it out of the corner of my eye, even though my head is actually between two screens right now. So I'm like, I've got my head cocked over here, but the center of my view, if I sat straight onto my desk, would be over here. And I just saw this guy pop in. So that's kind of funny. They didn't frame it so he wasn't visible. What about the other lucky contestants? The first victim's heart was missing. The third had the spleen removed. McCluskey. Dresden, get out here. I'm here about the new Ripper Vic, Sam Watts. I believe they're going to talk amongst themselves. Oh, maybe not. Sam's body is half covered by a sterile surgical sheet. His face an ashen white. For the first time without a smirk on it. Below the chest, there's a small, pencil-thin incision covered in dry blood. Beyond that, the corpse is immaculate. It would seem the killer knew exactly what they wanted from him and took it. Hold on. Small pencil... Oh, pencil thin. I was going to say, the liver is a very large organ. You can't make that small an incision to get it out. Next to Sam are several plastic envelopes containing the evidence found on his body. You can examine evidence through the bag without spoiling it. Look at the business card. Moving things around, you can make out that it's a card from a place called the Seamstresses Union. There's something handwritten on the back, but blood has made it illegible. Look at the cred stick. It's a standard cheap, unsecured cred stick. No way of knowing what's on it without slotting it. So here's my first real choice. I could certainly use the creds. You slot the cred stick into your PDA. 300 yen? I don't know. That's the yen sign. Is added to your account. Look at the purple shirt. It's Sam's shirt. Several of the buttons are missing and blood has thoroughly soaked it. The bag sloshes a bit in your hand. Look at the handwritten note. You can only see part of the note, given the torn off bits and bloodstains. Sam, I feel terrible that we have been long. To say I'm sorry. See you there. Love, Jessica. What's that? Item added. Basic medkit. Handy. Towering over the diminutive coroner is a homicide detective right out of central casting, if you ignore the tusks, pointed ears, and Neanderthal brow. You can smell his cheap aftershave from a mile away. So, this new Ripper Vic Watts, name's familiar. Didn't his mother kill herself a while back? The coroner frowns. So you insisted at the time. He chortles. Come on, she offed herself. I had it on very good authority. Now let's go, Dresden. Give me something to work with there. This Ripper case is my ticket to a lieutenant's badge. I've already posted everything I know. The killer stuns the target with a combination of drugs and magic, then removes a single internal organ while they're still alive. The perpetrator is most likely right-handed with a slim hand that knows its way around a scalpel. Has a decent understanding of human and metahuman anatomy, too. So, I'm looking at a whacked-out surgeon? Not necessarily. I don't know any surgeons who still use scalpels anymore. These days, it's all done with computer-controlled lasers. Could be anyone from a military field surgeon to an antique medicine aficionado. You're no damn help, dwarf. The Lone Star detective finally notices you. You note his superhuman powers of observation. Who the hell are you? So here's my first option that I don't have the requisite stats to meet. He might not like this. But, I don't know. It seems in character for me to say this. Are you the detective on this case? I was hired by Sam Watts to assist you in finding his killer. The dreck you were. You get anywhere near my investigation, it will be you on the slab, elf. He looks back at the dwarf. Dresden, get me more. I am putting someone in a cell or a box this week and claiming my promotion. Alright, asshole. We get what your priorities are. Dresden looks amused. Do you always make friends that easily? I'm great at dinner parties, too. He cocks his head to one side. Be straight with me. You really gonna work for the dead man? Sam was there when I needed him. I'm going to return the favor. Fascinating again. Detective McCluskey isn't interested in anything but Detective McCluskey. He'd convict his own mother if it meant another 10 Oh. So, okay. It's... I forgot. So, it's using that, like, 90s, 2000s slang of prepending new and you as a prefix to a thing to make it, you know, science fiction-y or cyberpunk-y. So it's new yen so new yen is the currency, and presumably they're just using the yen symbol for it. He'd convict his own mother if it meant another 10 new yen in a week in his paycheck. Plus, he's on the take. Dresden pauses, considering. You have honor, after a fashion. I try to honor the dead in my work, so we have that in common. What can I do to help you? On the take. Who's paying to hold his leash? I don't know, but someone with some major pull has been looking out for McCluskey's career. And wallet. What was that McCluskey said about Sam's mother? The official report is that she committed suicide about a year ago. Aren't you the official in that sentence? My name's on the report, but my actual findings left some doubts. I can't say that it wasn't suicide, but there were unusual bruises on her upper arms, and she didn't use her dominant hand to pull the trigger. I was told to drop it, so I dropped it. What are organs worth these days? A whole healthy body can be worth a bunch of new yen, but individual organs, not worth as much anymore. Well, with all the synth and cyber stuff on the market these days. Organ grinders only deals in the recently deceased. There's plenty of other chop shops that aren't as picky, though, and they don't care where the bodies come from either. Who still use scalpels? Doctors still learn how to use them in their first year of medical school, as do coroners, but neither profession uses them much anymore. It's possible some of the slimier chop shops still use scalpels, I suppose, but I wouldn't know where to look. Have you heard of the Seamstresses Union? It's a nearby club in the Barrens that attracts lowlifes. You'd probably like it. Me, I'm not really the going out type. Always too much to be done around here. Plus, the dead are just easier to get along with. I just need to know one more thing. Where was Sam killed? Dresden looks up at you intently for a moment before speaking. You know, I might be able to do you one better. Why don't you poke around those body lockers in the back and see if you find anything useful? Okay then. I'll go do that. The cold storage drawer is labeled John Doe, but the internal thermostat is set to 21 degrees Celsius. Open the drawer. The cold storage drawer opens to reveal the fully clothed body of a man, arms folded across his chest. In addition to sporting some of the brightest orange hair you've ever seen, the body seems to be in very good condition. Jake Armitage. Whoa, easy there. In one quick move, he jumps down from the drawer and stands before you. For someone who just woke up in a morgue locker, he seems unfazed and pretty well put together. You spot a data jack drilled into his temples, and some shamanistic tattoos peeking above his collar. An interesting combination. I told John to wake me up at 6 in the morning. Is it 6 yet? Doesn't feel like 6 yet. Sorry, didn't expect you to be so alive. Yeah, Dresden thinks he's pretty funny. You're not the first person he's pulled this one on. He chuckles. Well, so much for a good night's sleep. On the plus side, I noticed you haven't killed me yet, so that's good. If you aren't after me, then what's your story? I'm looking into the death of Sam Watts. The coroner seems to think you can help me out. Sam, eh? Glad somebody cares. We used to drink together every now and then, over at the Union. Decent enough guy, always in trouble over something or other, though. Jake yells towards the other side of the room. John, is this lady cool? Yeah, she's on the level. Working for Sam, believe it or not. Some sort of dead man switch. I thought you could help her out. Maybe even stop moping around the shop all day. Thanks for volunteering me. He pauses. Might be sizing you up, but it's hard to tell behind those shades. All right, then. Name's Jake. And you are? I'm still waiting for the ending of your story. Fair enough. Well, it sounds like you're taking a dive into the deep end here. John's right. I might be able to help you out. I was with Sam the other night. The night of the murder. Poor guy. He was hanging at the Seamstresses Union that night. Tripped out and rowdy. I'd been laying low there for a couple of nights after a bad run. Mrs. Kubota asked me to throw Sam out, so I did. But out in the alley, some gangers got the jump on me. He winces. Damn, maybe I need some soy calf after all. Like, as in soy caffeine, I assume. John, could you grab me a cup? Get your own damn cup. My hands are dirty anyway. Now what's wrong with this intestine? You hear a loud squelching sound as Dresden continues his work. Thanks, John. You're a real pal. Anyway, there's a big fat corp bounty on my head. Like I said, my last job didn't exactly go according to plan. Out in the alley, a few Halloweeners got the jump on us. Damn gangers thought they could turn a quick profit off my head. Jake smiles, and you get the impression that it didn't work out so well for the gangers. Sam stumbled off during the fight, though, and that's the last I saw of him. Until he turned up here, dead on arrival. It reminds me of my last stay in this place. Do you know anything else? I know they found his body a block away from the Union, just lying there in broad daylight. That's the Barrens for you. Jake looks down at his expression masked by chrome and crimson glass. Shame, though. Wish I'd been there. If those slagging gangers hadn't come along. Tell you what, you look like you can handle yourself in a fight. I could use some backup to settle the score with those Halloweeners out there. Their leader's got the whole gang searching the Barrens for me. I need to get rid of that asshole. In return, I'll take you to the place where Sam was murdered. It's not safe to hit these streets alone at night, trust me. Jake eyes you up and down. And maybe I'll throw in some decent supplies while we're at it. What do you say? It's nice to have someone watching your back out there, assuming you can trust them. I get it. Gotta be careful in this trade. I'm not one to go back on a deal, though. John can vouch for that. Plus, you know where I'm hiding out, right? Doesn't leave me a lot of room to sell you out. I don't work for free. I fight, I get paid. In Nguyen, not tours. Guess I'd say the same in your shoes? Fine. There's a cred stick with 1,000 Nguyen with your name on it. Help me dust those gangers and it's yours. I wonder if this would be locked out. It would be nice if it had like a green, your charisma is high enough for this thing. Maybe it is and I just haven't seen it yet. Make it 1,500. Hard bargainer. All right, 1,500 it is, but you better be worth it. I'm good for the fight if you're good for the money. Great. I've been hiding out here ever since that run-in with the Halloweeners. Those Halloweeners. Whiny bunch gangers, but this stretch of the Barrens is their turf. Hell, I'm surprised you even made it to this morgue in one piece without packing some heat. He yells over his shoulder. Oh, Dresden. Should be, I feel like this should say Dresden yells over his shoulder since this is the focus of the scene, even though it pans, you know? It's nitpicking. He yells over his shoulder. Very funny, Jake. You can sleep in the dumpster tomorrow. So, you need a weapon? Huh. Alright. So I've got options. I mean, especially as an elf, I feel like, you know, my body is frail. My temptation is to keep my distance, but there are some spells that seem to require it. I don't know. Let's go with the rifle and see what happens. You don't like library windows, do you? Never mind. Here's a rifle you can borrow. So, ready for an evening out on the town? Just a minute. Tell me some more about these gangers first. Well, they're one of the nastier gangs in town. Their symbol is a flaming jack-o'-lantern, but you wouldn't like their version of trick-or-treating very much. Around here, they're led by a troll named John Paul. He's got all the Halloweeners in the Barrens looking for me. We take him out, maybe I can breathe a bit easier. Is this just a different way of saying I'm ready to go? I think it is, but if you're buying... Hey, I've already provided the party favors. We can leave whenever you're ready. Alright. Gonna cut the episode here. When we come back, we'll head out into the Barrens. Well, we're gonna do a little looting. Then we'll head out into the Barrens. I'll see you guys then.